So we've cleaned up this object, we've cleaned up the external pentagon. Let's move over to this little triangle here. I want all of that to be straight lines. I can see this one's slightly curved, this is slightly curved. Rather than going right click to line on each three of these lines, I'm just going to select all of them with one lasso, go on any one line and go right click to line, and they all change into straight lines. Okay, let's move on to this curvy internal bit of the S. Can you see that there's extra control points here? Now, if you have excessive control points, that will create wavy or unsmooth cuts. Okay, sometimes you will have hundreds of control points on a line like so, and these will not give you a good cut result. It's in your interest to delete as many of these control points as possible without compromising the overall curve or the shape of the image. So what I've done there is you can either select a point and hit delete, or you can lasso a number of points and you can hit delete as well. Keep in mind that if you find you delete a point and it compromises the image too much, once again you can undo. Also watch out, sometimes you can have control points right on top of each other and not even know it. So if I zoom back out, it's very hard to identify you've got 2 points there. And that can cause issues when it comes to cutting. If there's 2 points on top of each other and they're not quite straight, you might find that the cutter does some weird things at that point. So make sure you eliminate double control points, and that might require you zooming in and out. Have a look. I wonder if we can eliminate this point here, and we can. Alright, if we compromise the image a little bit, we might be able to compensate for that with adjustment of the splines. But now we've reduced those control points. That should give us a smoother result, but there's one more step we want to do to these control points. Right click on the point, and you'll find in this section here, cusp, smooth, symmetrical, these are the properties of the point. And at the moment this point is set for cusp because it's phased out. Now if a point is cusp, it means that it can make a hard stop or a corner. And that is identified by the Gunnar software as a potential hard stop or corner. So you can actually get an unsatisfactory cut. However, if you go to that point and set this to smooth, what that will do, not only will it smooth out the line, but it'll also tell the Gunnar, look, just keep going straight past me, just keep doing a nice smooth curve. So smooth points means smooth curves. So change the properties of any points that are on curves that you want to keep there, make sure that they're set to smooth, and you will get smooth cut results. I bet if we check these points here, they are set for line, which it is, and so that all looks good to me. Let's move on to the next shape down here, the lower part of the S. If we try to live with this point, I can see it compromises the image too much, so we're going to go change back. I'm also going to go right click and smooth. What about this? Can we live without this one? Oh no, so we'll undo that. And let's go right click and make sure it's smooth, so we get a nice smooth point. And we can, so that's going to be a nice smooth line. These 2 points here really do compromise this curve. I'm going to blow them away. So once again, I'm lassoing or selecting them, just hitting the delete key. And then here I might compensate for some of that recent change just by adjusting those splines. And then finally I'm down to this last triangle here. I'm going to blow away these 2 points and then readjust this curve accordingly. And there you have it. We have our nicely smoothed and cleaned up image of the Superman logo. I might just fix that up right up there to make it a little bit more parallel. Okay. So now we are almost ready to import this. I'm going to go back to my pick tool and I'll select nowhere. The last step we need to do before we copy this over to SPT32 is we need to supersize it. Supersizing it means simply just make it bigger. So lasso and select the whole object with your pick tool and then stretch it right out. Now I'm going to zoom out. Can you see on the scale up here I've made a guideline at 1000, which is 1000 millimeters, which is approximately 40 inches. And so what we want to do, positioning this from the 0 point, we're going to zoom that out. We're going to supersize this till it's just over 1000. That means it's almost a meter wide. Now, the Corel software will import ratio 1:1 into SPT32, which means it'll make it 1 meter wide in SPT32 when we paste it, but we can scale it down. So your question is, why are we supersizing it? Let me explain that. We need to supersize this in order to get smooth curves. By supersizing it and making it bigger, we are actually providing a lot more detailed information for SPT32 to understand, more information about the curves. So if ever you've imported something and you can see that the curves are not quite coming out smooth, they're a little bit wobbly, it may be that you haven't supersized it. Make it bigger and you'll get smoother results. Okay, so here we've supersized this. We're now ready to copy this, so we go Edit, and we go down to Copy. You can use Control-C as well. And now we're going to change over to SPT32, which I've got running in the background of this computer. And then I'm going to hit the Paste dialog button. So we just click on Paste, and it brings up the dialog entry box. Now here, I want you to have a look and make sure that all three of these checkboxes are ticked. Close polygons proportional and set as default. And also make sure this value is set for 36 using the scale here. Okay, you can adjust it. Make sure it's set on 36. Alright, in paste dimension X, I only want to make it 200 wide, so I can scale it down, but you can see at 1073 it was actually copying it at the default dimension that it was in Corel Draw. But we don't want to make it that big. We only made it that big to give it more accurate information. And then finally, once you've keyed in all this information here, hit Enter to lock it in, and Enter will then show us that shape on the screen, and you can see here, there is your shape. It's 200 across. And that is now ready to cut, and that will cut very smooth, very nice, very accurate, just as you want. Okay, I hope that helps you out with importing from Corel Draw. That is the basics covered for you. Good luck with your creative designs, and talk to you soon.